For 75 days, I ate the exact same diet as Bryan Johnson. The results I was able to achieve have been unbelievable. In this video, we'll cover the top 4 things that people have been asking me about while I've been on Bryan's diet. Then we'll take a look at my results, including everything from weight loss to blood work to my biological age. From there, we'll dive into my thoughts on Bryan Johnson and the Blueprint protocol. We'll discuss both the positive and the negative aspects of the protocol. To wrap things up, we'll touch on what I'm going to do from here and how I'm going to implement what I've learned over the past 75 days. I'm assuming that most people watching this video know a bit about Bryan Johnson, but for those of you that are feeling lost, here's a very brief summary on who he is. You ever heard of or used Venmo? Well, Bryan's the dude that sold Venmo to PayPal for $800 million. He's now working on a few fascinating projects, one of them being Project Blueprint. With Project Blueprint, Bryan is spending millions of dollars to slow his speed of aging. The idea behind all this is simple. Don't die. Tech is improving scary fast. As AI and biotech improve, we will presumably discover treatments and molecules that have the power to extend life. All of this may sound crazy, but in the 1990s, so did tech like Neuralink and self-driving cars. The point is, don't die. We can't even begin to imagine the things that are going to happen over the next 30 years. All right, let's start answering the questions that you guys asked me the most. So many people asked me about meal prepping. Before I committed to doing this for 75 days, I spent a few weeks just trying parts of the diet out. When I decided to commit and go all in, I ordered a ton of things from Amazon in bulk. Once a week, I would go shopping for fresh produce and anything I was running low on. After shopping, it would take between 3 and 4 hours to prep everything for the week. On meal prep days, I'd batch create 7 days worth of the Green Giant, Super Veggie, and Nutty Pudding. Then I would freeze 3 of the Super Veggie and 3 of the Nutty Pudding. To thaw Super Veggie, I would put it in a pan on low heat, then go work out. This would allow it to thaw for about an hour. On meal prep days, I would also chop up all the ingredients for the third meal, which made it possible to assemble meal 3 in a matter of minutes. One of the ideas central to Project Blueprint is to automate as much of the process as possible. To successfully stick to the diet, you want to make it as easy as possible to actually follow through. If I didn't take the time every week to meal prep, I don't think I would have been able to stick to the diet. This leads me to the next topic I got tons of questions on. How much did it cost for me to eat like Bryan Johnson? After adding everything up, I was somewhat surprised. To preface things, I'm 23 years old, at least chronologically, and I'm not exactly loaded in a financial sense. So I tried to save money wherever I could. In order to save money, I did most of my weekly shopping at Aldi. If you haven't heard of Aldi, it's this ridiculously affordable grocery store, and they have a pretty good selection of organic veggies and berries. Quick disclaimer, the produce at Aldi is okay. I mean, it doesn't quite stack up to like Whole Foods, but it's a fraction of the price. On average, I spent $112.34 a week between the food and supplements. Yes, this even includes buying extra virgin olive oil that meets the Blueprint criteria. In my 30-day update on my experience with the Blueprint diet, I mentioned that I'm not taking all of the supplements. On that video, I got a ton of comments saying that the Blueprint diet is incomplete without all of the supplements. But according to Bryan himself, this isn't true.
So these are not required for everyone. This is just a template of if somebody wants to be on the outer edge of the frontier, this is the best we're doing right now.
I'm going to go over a list of all of the supplements I decided to take. But first, let's talk about why I chose not to take everything. Some of the things that Bryan is taking are on the cutting edge of longevity supplementation. This means that there's not always a lot of research around their safety for long-term use. For example, melatonin. Now, I wouldn't consider melatonin to be on the cutting edge of longevity supplementation, but it's a decent example of what I mean. According to the National Institute of Health, short-term use of melatonin supplements appear to be safe for most people. However, information on long-term safety of these supplements is lacking. Bryan takes melatonin every day. Now, to be clear, I'm not trying to criticize him for doing this. He has a team taking constant measurements of his body, and his biomarkers look great. What I'm trying to say is that before you blindly hop into something, you should talk to your doctor and do some research. If you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments. Another reason that I don't take all the supplements is that I'm 23. In my mind, starting to focus on longevity at 23 is like starting a Roth IRA at 18. By starting early, you have the potential to be miles ahead of the people that are just getting started when they turn 40. Because I'm taking my health so seriously at a relatively young age, I'm okay with taking things slow. Again, if you disagree or if you think I'm missing something, let me know in the comments below and we can fight about it. So here are the Blueprint supplements I've been taking, plus a few extra things. Tren. Just kidding, I'm not taking Tren. Ashwagandha, B12, cacao flavanols, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin D3, DHEA, ginger root, K2, lysine, magnesium threonate, and apigenin. In addition, the Green Giant is basically a cocktail of supplements, and I had that every day for 75 days straight. If you want to know more about Bryan's full stack of supplements, check out his website. I'll leave a link in the description. Okay, the final area I'm going to cover that I've had a ton of questions about is what I've enjoyed the most about Blueprint. The best part about this is how good you feel all the time. For me, mental clarity and ability to focus went way up. This is partly because of how stable blood glucose levels are on the diet. For the past 10 days, I've been wearing a continuous glucose monitor, and it's amazing how stable my blood sugar has been on the diet. If you want to know more about what it's like to wear a continuous glucose monitor and what I've been learning, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to post an in-depth video about this next week. And I think that covers it as far as answering the questions that I've been asked most frequently. Let's dive into my results. First up, we have weight loss. When I first started on Blueprint, I weighed in at about 192 pounds. According to my Withings Body Plus scale, my body fat percentage was roughly 19%. Now it estimates that I'm down to 13.4%. After 75 days on the Blueprint diet, my body weight dropped from 192 to 164 pounds. A few weeks ago, I went to a sports lab and got metabolic testing done. I also had my body fat percentage measured. That gave me a reading of 13.9% body fat. So based on that, I'm guessing that my Withings scale is actually pretty close. At any rate, this is what I looked like on day 1, and this is what I looked like 75 days later. The second result I want to talk about is heart rate variability. When I started, my average HRV was 53 milliseconds. After 75 days, it went up to averaging well over 70 milliseconds. Result 3, a lower resting heart rate. When I started, my resting heart rate was in the low 60s. Now it's down in the low 50s. Result 4, on Blueprint, my sleep is significantly better. When on the diet and doing the sleep protocol, I average nearly 4 hours of restorative sleep every night. This is your deep sleep plus your REM sleep. When I'm off the diet, I average less than 2.5 hours a night of restorative sleep. The rest of the results have to do with biomarkers from my blood work. Let's look at my testosterone levels. Because of the caloric deficit that comes with the Blueprint diet, I expected my testosterone levels to drop. Bryan gets around this by supplementing with exogenous testosterone. I didn't take any testosterone. Unfortunately, I didn't get my blood work done at the beginning of the 75 days, so I don't know how much my testosterone levels dropped. I am fairly certain that my testosterone levels were quite a bit higher a few months ago. I'm basing this on observational evidence. If you want to know what that observational evidence is, leave me a comment and I'll reply to you there. According to my blood panel, my testosterone is 548 nanograms per deciliter, and my free testosterone is 7 nanograms per deciliter, which is lower than I would have hoped, but kind of expected. A few other things to note from my blood work. My fasted blood glucose is 84 milligrams per deciliter, and my HbA1c is 4.8%, which is pretty good. I don't want this video to be ultra boring, so if you want to look at my other biomarkers, I'm putting them on screen now. You can pause it and take a look at them. Knock yourself out. Okay, the final result I want to look at is my biological age. According to InsideTracker, my biological or inner age is 19.2 years old. At the time of making this video, my chronological age is 23.7 years old. Now, while this is kind of interesting to look at, I don't put a lot of weight behind this. Here's why. This biological age is based on a really narrow snapshot of time. Here's what I mean. That's what my biological age looked like on that specific morning at 8:50 a.m. If I decided to go do shots with the boys, then eat an entire box of donuts, and then fuel my body with Red Bull for 48 hours, I'm pretty sure my biological age would look very different. I don't think it's very accurate to say my biological age is 19.2 when you're only looking at a 5-minute snapshot of your blood work. Again, I really wish that I had lab tests done at the beginning of this. The good news is I'll be getting these done regularly for as long as this channel is around. So if you decide to follow along, just know I'll be measuring and reporting my measurements. And that's it for the results. Let's talk about Bryan Johnson and the Blueprint protocol. A lot of people get a lot of things wrong about Bryan Johnson and about Blueprint. Before we go any further, I want to make it clear that I have a lot of respect for Bryan and his team. They're pushing boundaries and they're being incredibly transparent with their data. Blueprint is not about the exact diet. It's not about the exact exercise protocol. It's not about red light therapy or a bedtime routine or about skincare. At its core, Project Blueprint is about using measurement and data to back up health choices. There are countless health gurus out there. Very few of them are rigorously testing their claims, and even fewer are openly sharing their data with the public. That's what I love about Blueprint. Bryan never claims that the Blueprint diet is the one true diet. In fact, he's repeatedly said that he hopes someone comes up with a diet that produces better biomarkers. Having said all of that, here are 3 of the downsides or problems that I've found with Project Blueprint. some of it seems contradictory. For instance, being in a caloric deficit all the time. For someone like me on the Blueprint diet, you're calorie restricting yourself to the point where you're suppressing hormone production. As we talked about earlier, this is why Bryan supplements testosterone. To me, this just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it's probably better to correct a problem with diet than to introduce exogenous hormones. Big disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, I'm just sharing my perspective for what it's worth. Take it how you want. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 23, and I don't think it makes a lot of sense for me to spend the next several years of my life in a caloric deficit supplementing testosterone. If you can easily fix a problem like the testosterone problem by adding 200 to 400 calories to your diet, then it seems kind of like a no-brainer to do that. If you disagree with me, let's have like a respectful debate in the comments and maybe you'll change my mind. At the end of the day, everyone's objectives are going to be a little bit different, so it makes sense that someone like Bryan Johnson is going to want to do different things than I'm going to want to do, and that's okay. Another thing that I think is problematic with Blueprint is the number of variables that the team is testing at all times. If on any given week, Bryan is trialing 15 different things, how can they be sure that they're not confusing what's causing what? From the outside looking in, it seems like they might be messing with too many variables at once. And here's the final thing that I find problematic with Blueprint. The freaking religious zeal that some members of the community have. This isn't Bryan's fault or his team's fault. There are just a lot of people that are looking for that one true diet and that health guru, and they're really not interested in digging deeper for themselves. They just want to follow somebody else's protocol. I've had so many interactions in the comments with people that completely miss the point of Blueprint. The point is this: show me your data. Is Blueprint actually working for you? From my point of view, this isn't some faith-based protocol, but there's a growing number of people in the community that are beginning to treat it that way. All of this raises the question, what's next for me? Over the next 100 days, I have 3 large goals. The first is to build 8 to 10 pounds of lean muscle mass. The second is to increase my VO2 max by 20%. And the third is to increase my testosterone to at least 700 nanograms per deciliter while maintaining or improving all the other biomarkers I can. To do these things, I'm modifying the Blueprint diet to include both more calories and more protein. I'm also modifying the workout routine. I'm so excited about what's coming to the channel over the next few months, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you made it this far in the video, here are some bonus facts. The background, fake. This is what it actually looks like. I can literally stick my hand behind this bookshelf, and this painting, totally fake. I think we should have Tim Ferriss in the painting watching over me. Boom. Tim Ferriss, folks.